So the third time that it happened is when I was doing my paper route. I remember a gentleman who I delivered papers to had came to me and it's time to collect the money. Um, had you know offered for me to come upstairs into his apartment. He wanted me to see some drawings or something like that that he did. And by this time, I've been around the block, and I wasn't buying it. And so, I was like, no, making excuses. But I just didn't feel right. It was something inside of me that just didn't feel right about going upstairs to his apartment. And, every time I went around, he would just have a conversation with me as if I was, on his level. And at this time, I'm about maybe 10 or 12 years old. And, he's still trying to lure me up into his apartment and, insisting that I see these drawings. And I'm just like, no. And so I told my mother about it. So, I remember talking to her about it, and she just asked me where did he live. At this time, my mother was a police officer, and she asked me where did he live, and I told her where he lived or whatever. And I can't remember about how long some time went by, but I remember her coming to me, and I was probably older by this time. I was probably in high school. Um, Maybe some years had went by. I know I wasn't delivering papers any longer, but I remember her coming to me saying, "You remember the guy who you said was you know asking you to come up to his apartment?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember because I remember it very clearly." And she said, "Where did he live and what was he asking you?" And I just remember like wanting to know why was she, what made her bring up that discussion. And she said that he had a lot of child porn, a lot of child pornography found in his apartment. He was molesting. He had some children, kids that he had molested. This guy ended up being actually a firefighter, um, and they needed me to testify. And at the time, I'm like, you know, I really didn't want to testify um, because it was behind me at that point. Nothing ever happened to me. But then, girls. I thought about I just let go of whatever I was feeling at the time and just thought about what he had done. How he had ruined um, these young girls' lives. How they would have to had that memory. Um, how they had to deal with that memory for the rest of their lives. And that is what made me, or that was what compelled me to go forward with the, giving a statement. Um, and my statement actually, I think if I can recall, I think he was arrested or on probation or something. Something transpired. I can't really remember the specific details, but and I was actually happy. I was actually um, really happy that something happened to these people that prey on children, these cowards, these manipulators. I mean, these people who prey on small children who don't have, who intimidate them, who intimidate these children and force them into situations unwillingly, force them into things psychologically, emotionally, I mean, ruined them. Um, so, satanic ritual abuse is basically a mark. You have been marked by Satan. You have been chosen by Satan to receive this abuse, this constant abuse that is meant to destroy you, that is meant to tear you down, that is meant to um, be in your subconscious mind forever as long as you live, so that you will have that thought, that trauma. so that you can always remember that trauma, for the rest of your life. So this abuse is intended to psychologically break you down, to make you split your personalities. Because what happens when you split those personalities, you can allow demons to attach themselves to them personalities. So you have the forward personality, which is yourself. So what happens with satanic ritual abuse is, normally we should have the one personality, who is you. But usually when there's trauma that is inflicted, it doesn't have to even be satanic ritual abuse. It can just be a form of abuse that is physical abuse, any type of trauma, any traumatic experience in your life can create split personality, could create splits. So what happens is, and they use a lot of this in the military, where I don't know if you guys ever watched Manchurian Candidate. Guys, don't sleep on these movies. These movies are real. I don't know if you ever watched Falling with Denzel Washington, and how the demons traffic from person to person. This stuff is real. But how you develop these altars is the trauma forces you to split, because you don't want to deal with what you dealt with. You don't want to remember. You try to suppress it. Okay, so you develop other altars. You develop other altars, and as you can continue to experience trauma, you build up another altar. Meanwhile, you have different personalities with these altars. So you could be, use myself as an example. I could be Daquita, but there's another altar to me, maybe Vanessa, another one named Sarah. Vanessa may be a little promiscuous, a little wilder, and so forth. You have different altars. So what happens is spirits come in, demonize, take hold of these altars. These altars become demonized. Okay, there's times where the host altar, which is meaning the real person, the forward person, is actually suppressed. There could be a demonic altar that is so powerful that could take over the front person and knock the front person down and come forward and I don't know if you saw Beyonce. There's a video in which Beyonce explains this, and how something just takes over her, and she Sasha Fierce, that's an altar. She doesn't, she would never do that. Like Beyonce would never do anything like that. But Sasha, she hears the music and Sasha just comes out, and that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. She hears the music. Okay, so that's your cue for that altar to rise up, to come out. So there's there's handlers called handlers, and these handlers are basically in control of the altars. So they use a lot of this in Hollywood. I'm actually seeing some of this being manifested. It's mind control. I'm seeing a lot of this being manifested in today. You'd be surprised. But there's certain sounds, certain colors, certain phrases, certain hand gestures that will bring an altar out. So if someone, I had like Anna Nicole Smith. There's a video with Anna Nicole Smith where she was painting her face like a clown, under mind control. This is how mind control occurs: splitting the personalities, creating altars, demonizing those altars, bringing forth an altar that basically takes over the forward person. So there's times where the forward person, when she comes back, there's time missing, because she has missed some time, because maybe Cleopatra, let's use Cleopatra as an example, had taken over, and Cleopatra had taken over, and so when the forward person, who is a real person, comes on, she's seeing things in her closet that she wouldn't wear, or she's seeing purchases on her credit card billing statement that she didn't make. Um, and these are basically things that happen with when you are satanic, any type of satanic ritual abuse, you develop multiple personality disorder, or DID, they call it MPD or DID, dissociative identity disorder, in which other alters are basically have uh, have basically taken over. Other altars have been created in an attempt to forget the trauma that was experienced by the forward person. This is how also that the government makes assassins. Um, so here, I don't know if you ever followed the case of Timothy McVeigh, um, who did the bombing, but he talked about how there was an altar, like he was under mind control. So you know, look at the clip from there's a clip on here from on YouTube for the assassination of JFK, where you see two women right when the car passed. The colors, I believe it was red, symbolizing blood, and then the other one was the other dress was blue or something, and then the shot was fired. So there's triggers um, that causes an altar to come forward. So if someone has been programmed, because these altars are programmed by a handler. So one of those altars may be an assassination altar, where they are assigned a project, and not all altars speak to each other. There may be an altar where some of them speak to each other, but the assassins, the forward person doesn't know that they have an altar that has been programmed to kill, pretty much. So when that altar is raised, it is so powerful where it takes over the forward altar. It takes over the forward altar, and they carry out whatever mission they are told to carry out. But usually, there's also a suicide altar. There's an altar that has been programmed to self-destruct, to kill themselves after they carry out the task. So this is why you see a lot of these shootings, and then the shooter kills themselves. It's programming, folks. We are programming. We are programmed. The mind is hacked just like a computer is hacked. Folks, you have no idea of what's taking place right now today. Project Soul Catcher is a book written by Dr. Robert Duncan. And I'm just going to just go over what this entails. It basically covers the art of biocommunication war. Human beings are complex machines, but their inner workings have been deciphered. Mind control and brainwashing have been perfected in the last 60 years. Hacking computers and hacking into individual minds are similar. The 21st century will be known as the age of spiritual machines and soulless men. Folks, this is real. Like, our thoughts are not our own thoughts. We have been demonized. We are walking around carrying, we're carrying spirits. These demons, they talk to each other. Demons talk to each other as if us in the physical world are talking to each other. Our thoughts that we think of our thoughts are actually influenced by by the demonic, by the spirits that live within us, by these demons that live within us. So when we're told to do things, or if we're programmed um, to do things, then you have to wonder, who's the handler? Where's the handler at? So when you see these suicide bombings and all of these false flags,